Hi, I'm Melanie, and this is Melanie's Yoga Couch. Thanks for tuning in today for 5 questions you should ask yourself when buying a yoga mat. If this is not the day to talk about yoga mats for you and you really just want to do some yoga, then go ahead and click the link above. For everyone else, let's just get started. So let's say that you really need a yoga mat, you've fallen in love with yoga and you need a mat. Or if you have a yoga mat but it's really not working for you, you think you might want to give it away to a friend, then there are really some good questions that you want to ask yourself so that you find the right mat that you can use for years to come. The first question that you want to ask yourself is, am I sweaty? Or do I sweat a lot? So that might mean you live in a hot place and when you do yoga you sweat. That's normal. It might also mean that you just have sweaty hands and whenever you do yoga, you're slipping a lot, or you do some hot flow and basically everyone's just sweating a lot. So it's really important that you have a sticky mat for those kind of things because you don't want to be slipping around in downward dog, falling over, falling into someone. Those can be some embarrassing situations. To test out the stickiness of mats, you can of course look online and see reviews, or you can go to different studios and try out their mats because everyone kind of has a different opinion if something is sticky or not, or if it works for them or not. And mats are made of all different kinds of materials. So the yoga studios usually carry the top branded mats. You can just go and rent them and do a yoga practice on them. That's, for me, the best way to test out a mat, which leads into our second question. Am I traveling with my mat? So if you're renting the mats at the studio, you won't be traveling with your mat. However, if you are hiking from your apartment or home all the way to the yoga studio and that's far away, then it's going to be really important that you have a light yoga mat. You don't want a heavy yoga mat pulling down on your shoulders and causing you pain. I did that for about 2 years, and trust me, I know what it's like. I think my shoulders were uneven for about 2 years. But I was so happy when I finally bought a light yoga mat. It felt so much better. So this is a point that I really encourage you to research when you're purchasing your yoga mat. How heavy is my mat? Another point that relates to traveling is it portable? Can I fold up my mat? There are mats out there that you can fold up, and maybe a disadvantage of that is they do have creases. Otherwise, a lot of the light mats that roll up will fit inside of your suitcase. So just check out how long they are, or how wide, better, and see if that would fit in your suitcase. Which leads right into the third question, which is, do I have sensitive joints? If you are someone that has sensitive joints, sensitive knees, sensitive wrists, then you're going to want a yoga mat that has a little bit more padding. And this is going to really be interplay with the weight of your mat. So it's going to be a balance that you're going to have to consider. And then we come into the fourth question, which they're all kind of related, but this question is, what kind of material should my yoga mat be made of? So of course we all want our yoga mats to be eco-friendly, friendly for the environment, and healthy and made of materials that aren't harmful for us. But some important points to consider when we're looking at this topic is, how long is the yoga mat going to last? So if it's made out of all natural materials, that's great. But if it doesn't last long and I'm going to keep having to buy new mats each year, then that's a bit much. And it might not in the end be as eco-friendly as you think. So you might also want to consider recycled materials or just other materials that are going to last a longer time. I sprung for a mat that lasted for a long time, and I still have that mat after 8 years, and it still looks great, and I suspect that I will never throw it away. It's just something that could survive anything. It's also the really heavy one, so but I think I'll have it forever. So that comes into the final question, which is, how much are you willing to pay for your yoga mat? If you are someone that it's maybe just a phase, you're just trying it out and you don't know if you're going to really stick with it, then I would hold off on buying a mat. Unless you're doing it a lot at home, maybe you can borrow a mat. But otherwise, I would just recommend continuing to go to the studio and renting mats there. And then you can determine if yoga is something that's going to stick with you. And then maybe consider buying a mat. Because these really cheap yoga mats are not made of the best materials. They're not really comfortable, and you probably won't have it that long. So it's just a waste. So I would really recommend springing for, paying that extra 10 or 15 euros or dollars to get the mat that you really enjoy, especially if it's something you're going to be doing day after day, year after year. Get the yoga mat that's going to last, that suits your needs, whether you're a traveler, you have sensitive joints, you sweat a lot, something that fits for you. And then finally, the last point is not really super important. It's not a question you need to ask yourself, but just something you need to consider is that there are a lot of yoga mats out there, and there are a lot of colors, and there are a lot of pictures and designs and all kinds of things. I would just make this point about that is, in the end, it's not that important what kind of picture is on your yoga mat. The 5 questions that you asked yourself and those other points are much more important. Don't get distracted by the picture. It's so easy, but don't. So these new colors and pictures make buying a yoga mat a lot more fun, but it shouldn't determine which yoga mat you buy in the end. So anyway, I hope you've learned something. I hope you had fun. Thank you for joining me today, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and let's get started doing some yoga. Please click the link above and let's go for it. Namaste.